The hallway mirror reflects Isla's perfect face as she adjusts her diamond earrings, the ones I bought her for our 6-month anniversary. She turns to me with that practiced smile, the one she uses on difficult clients at her law firm. "My friends think you're a downgrade from my ex," she says, smoothing her black cocktail dress. "It's better if you stay home." I'm holding my suit jacket, ready to be her +1 to Rebecca's wedding. The invitation sits on our kitchen counter, addressed to both of us. But apparently, that was just a formality. "Okay," I say. She blinks, probably expecting an argument. Finn Harlow, the blue-collar consultant who fixes broken businesses, arguing with Isla Corvan, the rising star at Morrison & Associates. It would fit the narrative she's been building. "Really?" she asks, her voice carrying that slight edge of disappointment, like she wanted the fight. "Really? Have fun." Her Uber notification chimes. She kisses my cheek, a gesture so automatic it feels rehearsed, and clicks toward the door in her expensive heels, the ones that cost more than my monthly car payment. "Don't wait up," she calls over her shoulder. Through the window, I watch the black sedan pull away from our duplex. The brake lights disappear around the corner onto Maple Street, and something inside me shifts. Not heartbreak. That would come later. This is something colder, more calculating. I hang my suit jacket in the closet and roll up my sleeves. The engagement ring sits in my grandmother's jewelry box on Isla's dresser. 3 carats, flawless clarity, worth more than my truck. I slide it off her ring finger holder and place it back in its velvet slot. The box closes with a soft click that echoes through our suddenly quiet bedroom. Her clothes hang in perfect order: work blazers, designer dresses, casual wear she never actually wears casually. Everything organized by color and season, like a boutique display. I pull down her suitcases from the top shelf of our shared closet and begin folding. The Armani blouses go in first, then the pencil skirts, the cashmere sweaters she insists on dry cleaning. Each piece represents a version of Isla I thought I knew. The ambitious lawyer, the social butterfly, the woman who said she loved me despite my rough edges. Her jewelry collection fills 2 velvet pouches. Earrings, necklaces, bracelets, gifts from me, from her mother, from clients grateful for her legal victories. I handle each piece carefully, the way she taught me. Jewelry has memory, Finn. Treat it with respect. The irony isn't lost on me. Her toiletries from our shared bathroom fit into a single cosmetic bag. Expensive face creams, serums, the perfume that cost $200 an ounce. The scent that used to drive me crazy now makes my stomach turn. By sunset, 3 years of our relationship sits in 14 boxes stacked by the front door. The duplex feels different without her presence, bigger somehow. Like removing a tumor reveals how much space it was actually consuming. My phone buzzes with a text from Rebecca. "Where are you guys? Ceremony starts in 20. I don't respond. The wedding coordinator at Fairview Manor answers on the second ring. Her voice carries that practiced cheerfulness of someone who deals with stressed brides daily. "Morrison Harlow wedding, how can I help you?" "This is Finn Harlow. I need to cancel everything." Silence. Then, "I'm sorry. What exactly are you canceling?" "The wedding, reception, all of it." "Sir, the wedding is in 3 weeks. The deposits are non-refundable and—" "I understand. Cancel it anyway." The caterer takes it better. Giuseppe's catering has dealt with cold feet before. "These things happen," Giuseppe says with a heavy Italian accent. "You keep the deposit for next time, eh?" There won't be a next time, but I don't tell him that. The florist, photographer, and string quartet each get the same 90-second conversation. Professional disappointment wrapped in polite concern. The honeymoon suite in Santorini releases without penalty. Apparently, Greek hotels understand that American engagements are fragile things. My credit card company calls within an hour. "Mr. Harlow, we're seeing unusual activity on your account. Multiple large cancellations in a short time frame. We wanted to verify these transactions. They're legitimate. Are you sure? The volume triggered our fraud alert system. The volume. As if canceling your entire future happens so rarely it breaks their algorithms. I'm sure. After hanging up, I pour myself 3 fingers of bourbon and sit at Isla's laptop. She never bothered changing the password from our anniversary date, a detail that seemed romantic 6 months ago and feels pathetic now. Her email loads automatically, the usual suspects, work correspondence, social media notifications, promotional offers for things she'll never need. But buried in a folder labeled personal are messages that make my bourbon taste like acid. The first email is from her brother Damon sent 2 weeks ago. The downgrade narrative is working perfectly. His isolation from your social circle is almost complete. By the wedding, he'll be so dependent on you that the transition will be seamless. Are you sure about the timeline? Isla's response, sent the next day. Finn suspects nothing. He's too busy trying to prove himself worthy of my friends to notice what's really happening. The timeline is perfect. Marry him, secure spousal rights, then execute the plan. Damon, you're a genius. My hands shake as I scroll through more messages. The downgrade wasn't casual cruelty. It was strategy. Every slight, every exclusion, every moment I felt like I wasn't good enough for her world was carefully orchestrated. But orchestrated for what? The answer sits in another folder labeled Financial Planning. Isla's cryptocurrency wallet, password conveniently saved in her browser, shows holdings worth $340,000. The source transactions trace back to my brokerage account, the retirement fund I've been building since I started my consulting business 8 years ago. The transfers began 2 months after our engagement. Small amounts at first, $5,000 here, $10,000 there. Then larger chunks as she grew bolder. The most recent transfer, completed yesterday while I was meeting with a client in Albany, cleaned out the remaining balance. My life savings, converted to digital currency and hidden in accounts I didn't know existed. I pour another bourbon and keep digging. The wallet's recovery phrase was emailed to an address I don't recognize. I.Corvan, secondary eprotonmail.com. The domain traces to an encrypted email service based in Montreal. Professional, untraceable, the kind of thing you use when you're planning something illegal, or when you're planning to disappear. Property records for Montreal show a lease agreement signed 3 months ago. Tenant, Isla Corvan, her maiden name, not the hyphenated Morrison Corvan she uses professionally. The apartment is furnished, utilities active, ready for immediate occupancy, a parallel life, waiting for activation. My phone rings. Helena Corvan, Isla's mother, her voice sharp with panic. Finn, what have you done? Isla just called me crying. She says you've lost your mind. I check the time. 9:47 p.m. The wedding reception should be winding down about now. Your daughter stole $340,000 from my retirement account, I say calmly. She's been planning to leave me since we got engaged. The boxes are on the porch. That's ridiculous. Isla would never... Check her browser history, Helena. Check her email. Check the property records for Montreal. Then call me back. I hang up and pour a third bourbon. The phone doesn't ring again. Sleep doesn't come. I spend the night reading through Isla's digital life like a forensic accountant, piecing together a conspiracy that makes my chest tight with rage and something else, professional admiration. She's been thorough. The relationship with Dr. Patricia Reeves, her therapist, started 6 months ago. The sessions were supposedly for pre-wedding anxiety, but the email correspondence tells a different story. Dr. Reeves's notes, forwarded to Isla in clear violation of doctor-patient confidentiality, contain detailed analyses of my psychological profile, my childhood trauma, the abuse I suffered at the hands of my stepfather, the poverty that shaped my work ethic, the abandonment issues that make me cling too tightly to relationships, all of it cataloged and weaponized. Subject exhibits classic attachment disorder stemming from early childhood neglect, Dr. Reeves writes. His need for validation makes him susceptible to manipulation through intermittent reinforcement. Recommend continued social isolation paired with occasional displays of affection to maintain emotional dependence. The clinical language makes it worse somehow. My wounds weren't just exploited, they were studied, mapped, and turned into a manual for psychological warfare. But the real masterpiece is the business angle. My consulting firm, Harlow Solutions, focuses on reviving struggling companies. It isn't glamorous work. I spend my days in faltering factories and failing retail stores, figuring out how to reduce expenses and boost efficiency. But it provides reliable income, and my client roster reflects 8 years of carefully built relationships. That client database was exported to Isla's cloud storage 3 weeks ago while I was in the shower. Every contact, every contract detail, every piece of proprietary information I've accumulated since starting my business. Damon's competing firm, Vossel Strategic Consulting, announced 5 new clients last Monday. I recognize every name from my own roster. Companies I've worked with for years, relationships I've nurtured through late nights and weekend calls, all transferred to my future brother-in-law's business like assets in a corporate acquisition. The emails between Isla and Damon lay out the entire operation. Finn's clients trust him personally, but they'll follow the work, Damon writes. Once we have his methodologies and contact information, the transition should be seamless. His blue-collar approach actually works in our favor. They'll see my firm as an upgrade. Isla's response: the wedding gives us perfect cover. Spousal privilege means he can't use anything he discovers against us in court. By the time he realizes what's happened, we'll be untouchable. Spousal privilege. She was going to marry me to protect herself from the consequences of destroying me. I close the laptop and walk to the kitchen. The coffee maker gurgles to life as dawn breaks over our duplex. My duplex now. The mortgage is in my name. The utilities, the insurance. Isla contributed to groceries and utilities, but her name isn't on anything that matters. She planned to take everything and leave me with the bills. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. We need to talk. D. Damon. Probably wondering why his sister came home early with mascara streaks and a story about her crazy fiancé. I text back, "Come over, bring coffee." He arrives 20 minutes later, driving his leased BMW like he owns the road. Damon Vossel is everything I'm not: tall, polished, comfortable in expensive suits. He went to Dartmouth on his parents' money and talks about synergistic solutions and paradigm shifts, like they mean something. He knocks on my front door with the confidence of someone who's never been told no. "Finn, we should discuss this situation rationally," he says when I open the door. Isla is very upset. I bet she is. I lead him to the kitchen and pour 2 cups of coffee. He sits at my table like he's conducting a business meeting, straightening his tie and checking his phone. "Look, I understand there's been some kind of misunderstanding." $340,000, I interrupt. "That's not a misunderstanding, Damon. That's theft." His face doesn't change, but his hand pauses halfway to his coffee cup. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Sure you do. You know about the cryptocurrency transfers, the Montreal apartment, the client list you've been salivating over for months. You know about all of it because you planned all of it." Now he sets down his coffee and leans back in his chair. The pretense of concern drops away, replaced by something colder. "Even if what you're suggesting were true, and I'm not saying it is, what exactly do you think you can do about it?" "Isla is a lawyer, Finn. I have lawyers. You fix broken companies for a living." "You're right," I say. "I do fix broken companies. I find problems, I isolate them, and I eliminate them. It's what I'm good at." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm explaining my process." He stands up, straightening his jacket. "This conversation is over. If you contact Isla again, If you harass her or interfere with her life in any way, we'll get a restraining order, and if you try to spread these ridiculous accusations, we'll sue you for defamation. Get out of my house, Damon. He walks to the door with that same arrogant stride, then turns back. You know what the funny thing is, Finn? Isla actually felt bad about this. She wanted to find a gentler way to transition out of the relationship. But I told her you'd never let go willingly. I told her you'd cling to her like a life preserver because that's what men like you do. Men like me? Desperate men, poor men, men who know they're punching above their weight and can't bear to fall back down to their natural level. The door closes behind him with a soft click. I sit in my kitchen for a long time, drinking coffee and thinking about natural levels. The beauty of fixing broken companies is that you learn to see systems, how they work, where they're vulnerable, how small changes can cascade into total collapse. People are systems too, just more complicated ones. Isla's system has 3 pillars: her professional reputation, her social standing, and her financial security. Remove any one of them, and the others become unstable. Remove all 3, and the structure collapses entirely. I start with her professional reputation. Morrison & Associates prides itself on ethical practices and client confidentiality. Their marketing materials feature testimonials from satisfied customers and awards from legal organizations. They're the kind of firm that would fire a partner for jaywalking if it made the news. The anonymous tip I send to their ethics committee includes screenshots of Isla's emails with Dr. Reeves, documenting the misuse of therapeutic information. It also includes evidence of her accessing my client database without authorization and sharing proprietary business information with a competing firm. I don't mention the theft, that's a separate issue, and I want them focused on the professional misconduct. The email goes out at 8 a.m. on Monday morning. By lunch, Isla calls me 17 times. I don't answer. The social standing requires a more delicate touch. Isla's friend group operates on gossip and perception, but they're not stupid. Direct accusations would be dismissed as the ravings of a bitter ex-fiancé. Instead, I need them to discover the truth themselves. Rebecca's wedding photos are already up on social media, tagged with everyone who attended. I scroll through the images until I find what I'm looking for. Isla in her black cocktail dress, laughing with her friends, looking like she doesn't have a care in the world. I comment on Rebecca's post. Beautiful wedding. Sorry I missed it. Isla looked amazing. Glad she had such a good time celebrating while I was dealing with our family emergency. The responses come quickly. What emergency? Isla didn't mention anything. Is everything okay, Finn? Isla said you were sick. Hope you're feeling better. I respond to each comment with variations of the same theme. Confusion about the conflicting stories, concern about the miscommunication, gratitude for their support during this difficult time. I never accuse Isla of lying outright, just express bewilderment about the different explanations she gave for my absence. The seed is planted. Her friends will start comparing notes, asking questions, wondering why Isla's story keeps changing. The financial pillar requires patience. Cryptocurrency transactions are theoretically anonymous, but they leave traces if you know where to look. Every transfer Isla made from my account to her wallet created a permanent record on the blockchain. The conversion services she used require identity verification. The Montreal apartment lease lists her as the tenant. I don't need to prove she stole the money. The evidence already exists. I just need to make sure the right people find it. My lawyer, Jennifer Walsh, specializes in financial fraud cases. She's helped me with contract disputes and business litigation over the years, and she's seen enough white-collar crime to recognize it immediately. This is a clear case of financial abuse, she says after reviewing the documentation. The systematic nature of the transfers, the concealment of assets, the preparation for flight, it's textbook behavior. What are my options? Civil recovery, definitely. We can freeze her assets and force restitution. Criminal charges are possible too, but that's up to the district attorney. How long will it take? Depends on how cooperative she is. If she fights it, we could be looking at months or years of litigation. If she settles quickly, we might resolve this in weeks. I think about Isla's personality, her need to control every situation, her inability to admit fault. She'll fight it. Then we'll be ready for a war. The asset freeze goes into effect Tuesday morning. Isla's bank accounts, her cryptocurrency wallets, even her credit cards are locked pending the outcome of the civil suit. The Montreal apartment lease is voided due to fraudulent funding sources. Her parallel life disappears overnight. By Wednesday, the ethics committee at Morrison & Associates requests a meeting with Isla to discuss concerns about professional conduct. The meeting is scheduled for Friday morning. By Thursday, her friend group is buzzing with speculation about why she lied about the wedding, why I wasn't there, what really happened between us. The gossip network that once protected her reputation now turns against her. Isla finally corners me at the grocery store on Thursday evening. "You son of a dog," she hisses, following me down the cereal aisle. "You're destroying my life." "I'm recovering stolen property," I say, not looking at her. "There's a difference. Those were gifts. That money was for our future together." "Our future? You mean the future where you disappear to Montreal with my life savings while I'm stuck with a mortgage I can't afford?" She grabs my arm, her nails digging into my skin. "You don't understand. This isn't what it looks like. It looks like theft, fraud, and conspiracy. What am I missing?" "Damon made me do it. He said it was the only way to protect us from your business problems. He said you were going to lose everything anyway, so we might as well salvage what we could." The lie comes so naturally, I almost admire it. Even caught red-handed, she's still trying to manipulate the situation. My business problems? The lawsuits, the debt, the clients you've been losing. Damon showed me the financial projections. He said you'd be bankrupt within 6 months. Isla, my business is fine. Better than fine, actually. Or it was, until your brother stole my clients. She lets go of my arm and steps back, her expression shifting from anger to confusion to something that might be genuine surprise. "That's not," Damon said. For a moment, I see the woman I fell in love with 3 years ago. Vulnerable, uncertain, human. Then the mask slides back into place. "You're lying," she says. "You're just trying to make me doubt myself. Check my books, Isla. Check my tax returns. Check my client contracts. Everything you need to verify my financial situation is in the filing cabinet you've been living next to for 2 years. She doesn't respond, just turns and walks away, her heels clicking against the linoleum floor. I finish my shopping and drive home, wondering if she'll actually look at those documents or if she's too committed to the narrative to risk learning the truth. Friday morning arrives gray and cold, typical November weather for upstate New York. I'm drinking coffee and reading emails when my phone rings. Jennifer Walsh, calling with an update. Isla's lawyer wants to meet, she says without preamble. They're proposing a settlement. What kind of settlement? Full restitution of the stolen funds, plus damages for the business losses from the client theft. In exchange, you agree not to pursue criminal charges. It's a good offer, probably better than I'd get after months of litigation. But it's not enough. What about Damon? That's a separate case. We can go after him for tortious interference and theft of trade secrets, but it'll be harder to prove damages since some of those clients might have left anyway. No deal. Finn, this is a solid settlement. You get your money back and... I don't want my money back, Jennifer. I want justice. She sighs. Justice is expensive and uncertain. Revenge is what you're talking about, and revenge doesn't pay legal bills. Maybe she's right. Maybe I should take the money and move on, chalk this up to an expensive lesson about trusting people. But every time I think about settling, I remember Damon's words. Men like you, men who know they're punching above their weight. Counter offer, I say. Full restitution, damages, and a public apology. Isla admits to the theft and explains exactly how she did it. I want her to own this. She'll never agree to that. Then we go to trial. The ethics hearing at Morrison & Associates happens without me. I'm not invited, not needed. The evidence speaks for itself. But Jennifer has contacts in the legal community, and word travels fast in a small city. Isla is suspended pending a full investigation. The firm can't fire her immediately, union rules and due process requirements, but her access to client files is revoked and her court appearances are reassigned to other attorneys. Her career isn't over, but it's badly damaged. The social consequences unfold more slowly, but just as inevitably. Rebecca calls me Saturday morning, her voice tight with anger. "I can't believe she lied to us about the wedding," she says. "We've been friends for 10 years, and she made up this elaborate story about you being sick instead of just telling us you broke up." "We didn't break up," I correct. "I found out she was stealing from me and planning to disappear." "Jesus, Finn, are you serious?" "Completely serious." The conversation lasts an hour. Rebecca wants details, explanations, reassurance that I'm okay. By the time we hang up, I know she'll share everything with the rest of their friend group. The gossip network will do the rest. Isla's social circle doesn't abandon her immediately. They're too polite for that. Instead, she gets frozen out gradually. Invitations stop coming. Group chats go quiet when she joins. Plans get made without her input. It's a slow social execution, but effective. The financial pressure builds throughout the following week. With her accounts frozen and her income suspended, Isla can't afford her half of our shared expenses. She's staying with her mother, but Isla Corvan lives in a retirement community that doesn't allow long-term guests. Isla needs money, and her options are limited. She shows up at my door the following Saturday, looking smaller somehow. Her expensive clothes are wrinkled, her makeup smudged. The confidence that once made her seem untouchable has evaporated. "Can we talk?" she asks. I let her in, but I don't offer coffee. "I looked at your business records," she says without preamble. "You were right. Your company is doing well. Better than well." "I know. Damon lied to me. He said you were in trouble, that we needed to protect ourselves before you lost everything. I thought I was helping." It's a better lie than her grocery store performance, but it's still a lie. The emails I read show her as an active participant, not a reluctant accomplice. "Isla, I've seen your messages with Damon. I know this was your idea." She sits down on my couch, our couch, and puts her face in her hands. "Okay, yes. It was my idea, but not for the reasons you think. Enlighten me." "I was scared, Finn. Scared of marrying you, scared of being trapped in a life I didn't want, scared of disappointing everyone by calling off the wedding. The money was supposed to be my escape fund, just in case things didn't work out. And the client theft. That was Damon's suggestion. He said if we were going to end things anyway, we might as well profit from it. I know how it sounds, but I never meant for it to go this far." I study her face, looking for tells. Isla is a good liar, but I've learned to read her over the past 3 years. The slight tension around her eyes, the way she touches her throat when she's being deceptive, all the signs are there. "You're still lying," I say. "I'm not." "The Montreal apartment was leased 3 months ago, Isla. 3 months. You've been planning this since before we sent out wedding invitations." Her shoulders sag. "Fine. You want the truth? Here's the truth. I never loved you, Finn. I liked you, I enjoyed the relationship, but I never loved you. You were safe, stable, good to me, but you weren't enough." The words hit like a physical blow, but I don't let it show. "So why not just break up with me?" "Because I needed the money, my student loans, my credit card debt, the lifestyle I've been maintaining. It's all built on borrowed time. I'm drowning financially, and your retirement account was my life preserver. And the wedding? Spousal privilege, community property laws. If we were married when I took the money, it would be legally mine too. The divorce settlement would let me keep half of everything. Finally, the truth. Not love gone wrong or family pressure or temporary insanity. Just cold, calculated theft, dressed up as romance. Get out, I say. Finn, please. Get out of my house. She stands up, smoothing her wrinkled dress. You know, Damon was right about you. You are a downgrade. Not financially. I was wrong about that. But emotionally, socially, intellectually, you're small, Finn. Small and petty and vindictive. Maybe. But I'm not a thief. She walks to the door, then turns back one last time. This isn't over. I'll fight the civil suit. I'll fight the ethics charges. I'll fight everything you throw at me. And when I win, I'm going to take you for everything you're worth. The door slams behind her. I pour myself a bourbon and sit in my quiet house, thinking about small and petty and vindictive. Maybe she's right. Maybe the man I've become over the past 2 weeks isn't someone I'd have recognized a month ago. But sometimes small and petty and vindictive gets results. The civil trial takes place in February, 3 months after I canceled our wedding. The courthouse is one of those grand old buildings with marble columns and high ceilings, designed to intimidate people into respecting the law. Isla arrives with her legal team, 2 attorneys from a firm in Albany, expensive suits and briefcases full of motions and objections. She's dressed conservatively, her hair pulled back, playing the role of the wronged woman defending herself against false accusations. I have Jennifer and a box of printed emails. The trial lasts 2 days. Isla's lawyers argue that the money was a gift, that our engagement created a financial partnership, that I'm a vindictive ex-fiancé trying to weaponize the legal system. They paint me as controlling and abusive, someone who monitored her computer usage and violated her privacy. Jennifer presents the evidence methodically. The cryptocurrency transfers, the hidden apartment lease, the stolen client information, the therapy session notes. Each piece builds on the last, creating a picture of deliberate, calculated theft. Isla takes the stand on the second day. She's a good witness, composed, articulate, sympathetic. She admits to taking the money but frames it as protecting herself from my alleged financial instability. She claims the Montreal apartment was a safety net, not an escape plan. She portrays herself as a victim of my emotional manipulation. It's a convincing performance, but it falls apart during cross-examination. Jennifer is relentless. She walks Isla through each email, each transaction, each lie. She forces her to explain why she never discussed her concerns about my finances directly with me. She makes her read aloud the messages where she and Damon mock my background and plan my destruction. By the time Jennifer finishes, Isla is crying on the stand. The jury deliberates for 6 hours. When they return, the foreman stands and reads their verdict. We find for the plaintiff on all counts. Full restitution, $340,000 plus interest. Damages for business losses, $120,000. Punitive damages, $50,000. Total judgment, $510,000. Isla doesn't have that kind of money. Her suspension from Morrison & Associates became a termination after the ethics investigation concluded. Her legal fees consumed most of her savings. The judgment will follow her for years, garnishing her wages and limiting her employment options. Damon faces a separate lawsuit for the client theft, plus a criminal investigation for wire fraud. His business is hemorrhaging customers as word spreads about his methods. The BMW gets repossessed in March. I don't feel victorious. Victory would imply that I won something, but all I really did was recover what was already mine. The money, the clients, the reputation, none of it was ever at risk until Isla decided to take it. What I feel is something simpler. Relief. The phone calls from Isla Corvan stop. The social media drama dies down. The legal proceedings end with a whimper, not a bang. Isla disappears from my life as completely as if she'd never been part of it. I use some of the judgment money to upgrade my home office, invest in better equipment for my consulting business. The rest goes back into retirement accounts, properly secured this time. Spring arrives early that year. I'm working in my garden on a Saturday morning when my neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, stops by to chat over the fence. "Whatever happened to that nice girl you were engaged to?" she asks. "I haven't seen her around lately." "We broke up," I say, not looking up from the tomato plants I'm transplanting. "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. She seemed lovely." "She seemed a lot of things." Mrs. Patterson nods like she understands, though I doubt she knows the details. Small towns have their own wisdom about failed relationships. Sometimes people just aren't who they appear to be. I finish planting the tomatoes and go inside to shower. The house is quiet, peaceful, mine. No expensive clothes in the closet, no complicated social obligations, no one planning my destruction while I sleep. It's not the life I thought I wanted 6 months ago, but it's the life I have. And for the first time in a long time, that feels like enough. The engagement ring sits in my grandmother's jewelry box, waiting for someone who deserves it. Someone who won't see it as a down payment on theft. Someone who won't consider me a downgrade from their past. Someone who won't need to be taught the difference between love and larceny. I close the jewelry box and put it back in the safe. Someday, maybe. But not today. Today, I'm content to be exactly who I am. Finn Harlow, small business owner, problem solver, survivor of his own poor judgment. It's not a glamorous identity, but it's honest. And after everything that's happened, honesty feels like the most valuable thing I own. The sun sets over my quiet street, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. I pour myself a bourbon and sit on my front porch, watching the world go by at its own unhurried pace. Tomorrow, I'll get back to work fixing other people's